Let's talk about the 5 reasons why you may develop stomach pain when you start the ketogenic diet. All right, the biggest reason is that you're consuming all these keto-friendly desserts, or what's called keto bombs, which are these fat cookies, and they have sugar alcohols in them, and you're sensitive to it. A lot of people, especially in the beginning, are consuming those in large amounts, and they don't realize that their system has to adjust to it. And a little too much, it's going to create a lot of bloating and pain in your gut. All right, number 1, sugar alcohols, and this is very, very common. These are the sweeteners that are low on the glycemic index, okay? So you have erythritol, xylitol, mannitol, maltitol. There's quite a few other ones. But here's the thing that they might not tell you about these things. They can create a lot of bloating and distension and pressure and pain in your gut, especially if you consume them in large amounts. And that's something that usually happens in the beginning because you're all excited, you start it, and now you realize, wow, I can have all these keto-friendly cookies, and you start consuming them and you start getting pain in your gut. So that is number 1, and it's very, very common. So I always recommend doing small amounts, especially in the beginning, and see how it goes. Number 2, there's too much fiber. You're not used to it. You don't have the friendly bacteria to deal with actually 7 to 10 cups of vegetables. So if you're not used to it, start small and then gradually increase it because you can overload the microbes. It's just too many for the amount of microbes that you have. They will adapt, but it does take some time. And there's also certain vegetables that you may be sensitive to. For example, if I were to consume broccoli right now, even though I like it, it would just cause so much pain in my gut. For other people, it could be cabbage. So it really depends on the person. So if you're consuming a new type of vegetable, that could be something that you need to avoid right now. But also realize that consuming too much fiber can also cause constipation for certain people. But in other people, if you don't have enough, it can create constipation. So you want to test the waters, but ideally you would want a good amount to get your minerals, magnesium, potassium, and definitely vitamin C. If you have a condition called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, this is where the microbes that should be in the large intestine are now in the small intestine, and you consume too much fiber, you're going to basically cause those microbes to go in an eating frenzy in the wrong place. And they're going to ferment the fiber in the small intestine. You're going to just blow up and feel really bad. So if you have this, I recommend you do carnivore for a while. Okay, number 3, not enough fluids. Now, what does that have to do with anything? When you switch from doing carbs to burning fat, you're going to be getting rid of a lot of excess fluid, okay? That's number 1. So you need to actually replace that fluid. The second thing is that the fiber that you consume from the vegetables requires more fluid. So some of this fiber that is not digestible acts like a sponge and it starts requiring water. And if you don't give your body enough fluids, it can actually suck some of the fluids in your large intestine and leave you a bit dehydrated. That can cause the pain. So this actually, believe it or not, is actually quite common. So the next time you get stomach pain, especially if you eat something with a lot of vegetables, consume more water and it should just go right away. Very, very simple. Number 4, too much dietary fat. You don't have the gallbladder capacity. You haven't generated enough bile salts in your gallbladder, which is produced by the liver, to handle that amount of fat coming into your body, okay, dietary fat. So you might want to cut it down. The other thing is that you may have heard about this thing called the bulletproof coffee, right? Where you're doing MCT oil or butter or coconut oil, whatever, in this coffee, and now you're slugging this down. Well, the MCT oil, if you take too much, can cause pain. And you could also just not have the gallbladder capacity to break down those fats and create a lot of pain and discomfort. And especially if you don't understand the difference between certain fats. For example, if you consume a lot of oils, like from soy oil or corn oil, that can be very, very hard in the gallbladder. Or you're consuming nuts that are rancid or oils that are rancid, and you don't know it. That can create a lot of pain and inflammation in your gut. So it really has to do with the quality and the amount of fat. And lastly, if you're doing high amounts of protein, because you heard that keto is just low carb and high fat. Maybe you haven't heard that it's moderate protein, but if you're doing high protein, okay, and you're just doing protein and maybe some other foods that are low in carb, and you don't have enough stomach acid, what's going to happen is that protein is not going to fully break down. It's going to kind of sit there, and you're going to have a lot of pain, in which case you need to add betaine hydrochloride and apple cider vinegar. So the purpose of this video is just to kind of go through some areas to see if any of these indicate to you of being a reason why you have pain, so you can make some changes. Thanks for watching, and definitely check out this other video that I have that talks about bloating, but more related to the gallbladder. Check it out. Hey, before you leave, I just wanted to give you a little quick history on some of the books that I wrote. This was one of the first books. It's called Dr. Berg Body Shapes. It was my attempt at writing about body types. What was very interesting about this book is I actually did all the images myself. Don't ask me why. They look actually not quite as professional as some of the images that I have in the new book. But anyway, this is my first attempt right here called Dr. Berg's Body Shape Diets. And then I wrote a book more extensive called The 7 Principles of Fat Burning. I don't even have a copy anymore, actually, because it's outdated. The next book, I put about 1,000 hours into this one right here called The New Body Type Guide. Major updates on the body types. I put a lot of energy into this. It has professional images, graphics, all sorts of things. Now, the problem with this book is it doesn't really describe what this is really about. Body types are only a small portion of what's in this book. And that's why I changed the name to the Healthy Keto Plan, okay? If you happen to have this book, you don't really need this book because there's some only very, very minor updates. But if you don't have this, you need to get this one right here. This book goes into every single detail that you would ever want to know about. It goes into the 7 principles of fat burning. It goes into hormones, the body types, the basic keto plan. It goes into intermittent fasting. I talk about the 10 fat burning triggers and blockers and fat burning strategies with a lot of details in every single chapter. I go into body issues that interfere with losing weight. There's very few people that just have a weight problem. They have a lot of body issues, whether it's sleeping problems, stress problems, inflammation, menopause. I cover that extensively in this book. Then I talk about how to get rid of stress, and I show you a technique. Then I get into exercising. And then I have a lot of really good recipes in this book as well. So this is a good reference guide. On my website, if you get this book, you get this one free. It's called Healthy Keto and Intermittent Fasting. This is the shortcut, quick guide to this book. And the reason I created this book is to have you, within 45 minutes, learn how to do keto, okay, in intermittent fasting, exactly what you need to do. Then you can fill in the blanks with this book right here. So right now I'm doing a special. If you get this book, you get this one totally free, or you can go to Amazon and get these individually. So I just want to clarify the difference between this book and this updated one right here. If you don't have this, you need to get this right here. That way you can get the exact correct information to do it healthily.